Hello to all investors. Before diving into today's stock analysis, I'd like to briefly recap the previous videos. In the last video, I mentioned Apple stock, and it has now provided a good entry point for those who followed. As for other stocks I previously covered, please feel free to revisit the earlier videos for more details. Now, moving on to today's stock picks. Currently, the three major indices, Dow Jones, Nasdaq NQ, and S&P 500 specs, have all reached high levels. From my perspective as an investor, when the indices are at elevated levels, it's only safe for those who are already holding strong positions. At this stage, I would not prioritize opening new long positions. Now, let's take a look at NVDA. Currently, this stock is in a very strong uptrend, and its upward momentum is impressive. However, at this stage, NVDA does not present a safe entry point for either long-term holding or short-term trading over the next few sessions. Therefore, investors should carefully consider before allocating capital. A stock is only considered a safe buy when it can be entered at a position that allows for long-term holding with minimal volatility, both from market-wide movements and the stock itself. Right now, NVDA has already broken above its previous high from 6 months ago. Entering a new position at today's price level would likely not be safe for your portfolio. Although the stock chart shows strong bullish momentum and it may continue to rise, I personally prefer to stay on the sidelines for now. It needs time to consolidate and build a new base. Only then would it be more reasonable to consider re-entering. Next, let's take a look at Bitcoin. Based on the current chart, this price zone is not ideal for opening new positions. We should closely monitor the next few sessions to see whether Bitcoin confirms a continued uptrend or shows signs of a potential pullback. For those who recently entered around the $103 level, you may continue holding and observe further developments. However, if the daily candle closes at 100, we should immediately exit the position to avoid potential risk. At the moment, Bitcoin is consolidating around its current price range, which indicates a relatively healthy trend. Next, let's take a look at ETH. From the current chart, this price range does not offer a favorable entry point for opening new positions. For those holding ETH from the $2,300 level, it's advisable to continue holding and monitor the price action closely. If ETH posts a daily candle closing at 2,220, then investors who entered at less favorable positions should consider exiting completely to protect their portfolio. On the other hand, if ETH continues to consolidate around the current price zone, it would indicate a very solid and healthy trend. Next, let's move on to AMS. In my opinion, opening a new position in this stock at the current price is not advisable. For those who already have a position around the $204 level, you should continue holding and monitor the stock's price reaction to see if it shows positive momentum. Although AMS tends to move slowly, its upward moves are typically steady and reliable. If the stock continues to show strong consolidation, new buying opportunity may present itself. However, if the opposite occurs, it would be best to avoid initiating any new positions. Continue monitoring the price action over the next few sessions for further confirmation. Next, let's take a look at AVGO. At the current price level, it's not advisable to open a new position. However, for those who have already secured a strong entry around the $227 level, it's reasonable to continue holding and monitoring the stock's movement. In the event of a market pullback, if AVGO also declines and approaches a support level, we can consider opening a new position at that point. Over the past few years, this stock has consistently shown stronger performance than the broader market, which is why it's worth keeping a close watch. We should monitor it carefully to identify a potential entry for a short-term investment, while also being ready to close the position promptly if the stock no longer provides a reason to continue holding. Next, let's take a look at Pleater. Over the past year, this stock has shown a very strong and well-defined uptrend. Because of this positive trend, it's important to carefully consider both entry and exit points in order to maximize potential returns. In my opinion, despite the solid trend, Pleater would benefit from some consolidation and a pullback to a more attractive price range. ideally between $115 and $120. At that point, we can evaluate the technical signals on the chart and consider whether it's appropriate to initiate a new position. However, at the current price level, I don't recommend opening a new position. If the stock continues to rise from here, we may have to stay on the sidelines and simply observe, rather than chasing the price at this stage. In case anyone buys in a good position, they can continue to hold it, but they will have to wait for more time for the stock to continue to have a good growth trend. The above are personal opinions on stocks. I hope investors can buy good stocks for their portfolios. Investors who need to care about their portfolios that are losing money or need to sell when they have made a profit but cannot find a good selling point. Or if you want to buy any stocks, please send me a message to ask so I can help and answer your questions. I wish investors have great stocks in their portfolios. The above are personal opinions, and I personally disclaim responsibility for all buying and selling actions of investors. When you invest, you must take responsibility for your own investment.